Happy Tuesday, everybody. It's that time again of the week. You're here for the best show there is. We got so much to talk about regarding Alabama football. And it's the final whistle, the greatest show there is in across the land. And I got my rowdy group of guys with me tonight. Let's start with my brother, the keeper of the Blaze. And we're not talking Colorado or California. Mr. Ty Hayes, how are you doing, sir?
Can't complain, man. This is my favorite time of the year. Playoffs right around the corner. Transfer portal window alive and active. And early signing day tomorrow. I can't wait. We got a lot to talk about.
I love it. And right above him, Mr. Lou Sean, final whistle analyst. Coach Lou, Coach Lane Kiffin, Luke Kiffin, whatever you want to do. How are you doing, sir?
I'm ecstatic, man. Recruiting is going off right now. I'm constantly checking my pad, just on the internet, seeing what's going on, because you never know what's going to happen in recruiting. And Saban he's being Saban right now, and it makes this time exciting when we're waiting for the tide to roll in January.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, Week 0 Sports himself, Workspace Solutions himself, Daniel Pettey. How are you doing, sir?
Man, glad to be here back in the Crimson. I'm with Ty and Lucian, man. This is exciting time of year. We were told football was done and it's broken and it's dead with all this changing. I've never been more excited for a football season than I am the next one, and this one ain't even over. So I'm pumped to be here. But yeah, Workspace Solutions. We're the sponsor of this great outfit. We help your business grow. We help your digital online presence. Anything marketing needs you need online, SEO, web design, content writing. We do it all. We help your business grow, and we hopefully help these guys grow. And I'm glad to be a part of it also with Week 0. But yeah, man, just to echo what y'all said, can't be more pumped. Playoffs right knocking on the door.
Knocking on the door. Pasadena, here we go. Going back to California. Going from OnlyFans to the pulpit, Mr. Final Whistle Dad. How are you doing, sir?
Man, listen, man, it is we are here. You know what I'm saying? It's bowl season. What happened to the season? Hey, we're in early signing day eve. It's a lot going on, y'all. Y'all buckle up these next 24 hours. Exciting one.
Buckle up. It's gonna be exciting. Listen, we're going to talk a lot of things, previewing the Rose Bowl, Pasadena, recruiting, transfer portal news. We're going to cover it all here with my rowdy group of guys. Again, we're here on the Bama Standard. Hit that like, subscribe button. Hit up Workspace Solutions, guys. They do a lot of great work. They have helped my OnlyFans grow numerous amounts. So enough of that right now. So
we will SEO your OnlyFans account.
It's
so
true.
I know they will. I'm gonna lay it up to my brother Ty Hayes, who's kind of, he's kind of our point guard. He does such a great job. I set the screen and I'll let Ty Hayes come out the pick and roll and handle his business.
Oh, look at that. I get a selfie.
Well, I've certainly grown in appearance since the last time we've met, gentlemen, but I'll just sit here and smile. Okay, there we go. No. One of the things, guys, we've got to talk about, I know there's a lot of excitement around recruiting the transfer portal, but there is a game approaching us, and rapidly so. That's this playoff game against Michigan. And last time I checked, Alabama was still a underdog, though that line consistently shifting. Daniel, I'm sure you're going to talk to us about some can't miss lines. Can't wait to jump into that. But we get into some from Michigan that could be different. What could make game a game? And there's a lot of talk about the rushing attack for Michigan, and so that's been the backbone of the offense. But gentlemen, I'm going to start us off on this subject before I pass it around. For me, the rushing attack naturally has got to be stopped. But Michigan's rushing scheme mirrors what Georgia does, right? Very successful 99% of the time. But whenever they match up against a team like Alabama, schematically, I think Alabama's defense is built to stop that inside run, as opposed to a running scheme like Auburn, which is a bit more based on assumptions, they're able to get some success on Alabama. I think schematically, Alabama is far better equipped to stop this run Michigan is going to field, even though I do believe Michigan has 2 really talented running backs. For me, the player for Michigan that is going to make or break it for them, it's JJ McCarthy. This was a guy that for the Wolverines, they were talking about as could he be a Heisman guy? Now, he didn't put up the numbers, and Michigan fans will tell you he didn't need to. Well, I can bet you this. He's going to need to put up the numbers against Alabama. Guys, I'll ask you this as I pass it around. I can't remember the last time Alabama lost a game while the opposing quarterback did absolutely nothing. If you're JJ McCarthy, odds are you have to beat Alabama, because typically in these big games, it is an all-time great quarterback beating the Tide. Matt, I'm going to pass it to you. What do you think about this matchup?
3 players I think Alabama's got to start. I mean, you kind of mentioned them. JJ McCarthy for sure, Blake Corum. But for me, I think Roman Wilson, I think what they're going to try to do offensively, receiver-wise, I think they're going to look at the Auburn tape. They're going to look at the LSU tape. That's why I mentioned JJ McCarthy. I think it's important we get to him and get him on the ground. We don't need him to be scrambling and, trying to do some things. So definitely Roman Wilson and, JJ McCarthy and Blake Corum for me. I think those are the kind of the 3 guys that we kind of have to be watchful for, versus Michigan, because I think Michigan, and I'll be brief, they got embarrassed last year versus TCU. I think they're looking to, avenge themselves, but against Bama. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some surprise plays and things like that trying to catch us off guard early. So that's my 2 cents. I throw it up to Lucian.
I mean, like both of you said, the quarterback and the running back are the main 2. But for from what I've seen, I want to say the tight end Colston Loveland. I mean, he seems to be an X factor in what they try to do in the middle of the field, and I think he's going to be key to stopping the run. He's also pretty good in their blocking scheme from what I've seen too.
Pettey?
Man, Lucian, you picked. I think that's a great call, because when you do look at what McCarthy's done this year, he does have a 74% completion percentage, and it's not just a one guy. Wilson is his main target. He's got 11 touchdowns, but he spreads it. They've got 3 guys that are in that 40 to 50 reception mark with Wilson, the other receiver, John, I think it was Johnson. But Loveland, the tight end, man, he's got as many receptions and as yards as any receiver on that team. So he is a weapon over the middle. This is going to be where Bama did what they did maybe against Georgia, and these teams where, the safeties over the middle just blanket these guys, because they have been dangerous, and he does spread it around. But I'm going to flip it. I'm going to go to the defensive side. I mean, they're going to have to stop this Bama offense. It's really gotten rolling here lately. How much offense have they faced? I know we've kind of gone over on that on the show. They haven't really faced the offenses that Bama has, but they're anchored by their defensive line with Chris Jenkins and Jalen Harrell. Harrell has 6.5 sacks. Junior Colson, he's not a big pressure guy. He does lead the team in tackles. So those are my 2 keys. I think they're going to have to get pressure with Harrell, and Colson's going to have to clean up on Milroe for them to have any success to stop Bama, because I don't think they're going to be able to score much. So their window or their path to success is a low scoring ball game where they shut the Bama offense down, and it's going to be between that defensive line and Colson. And they've got some shutdown corners, man. Going into the season, Johnson was their highly touted guy, and I'm going to mess up this guy's name. Sandersill has got 5 picks and 2 pick sixes. So, I mean, they've got some dudes at corner. So that's my keys, going to be Harrell and Colson having to try to shut down Milroe. Sorry, I got long-winded there.
You're fine.
I did a lot of research on that subject today because I haven't done much Michigan research. So I was like, I got to dig in.
Nice. Dan?
Well, I can say, Pettey, neither have I, because I'm not concerned about it. But let me tell you, these are the keys, though. JJ McCarthy, we got to make him uncomfortable in the pocket. You know what I'm saying? We got to show him different looks. Let's just get pressure. Let's push the pocket into his lap. But the greatest weapons are the running backs. You know, you got Corm, Edwards. You know, those guys are dual threat running backs. You know, they can catch it, they can run. You know what I'm saying? They can gash you. So those are the guys we have to contain. Let's stop the run. That's number one. You know, stop the run. You know, Roman Wilson, he's the only big play threat receiver. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not worried about him. We got 3-4 capable guys that we could put on him. So I'm not worried about any mismatches. But other than that, man, you know, I feel zero threat from Michigan. I'm no concern.
I love it. Now, before we get off this topic, I want to just ask the panel, and I'll start with Pettey, you know, Lushan, Ty, and then Dan. You know, I mentioned, you know, what games that Harbaugh and them might try to use to kind of add to their playbook, you know, against Bama. I mentioned Auburn, LSU. What do y'all think, which game film do you think Michigan is going to try to utilize to attack Bama versus both offensively and defensively? Is it Georgia? Is it whoever? What are your thoughts, Pettey?
Man, that's tough, especially when their offense is so differently designed. It's hard, like they can't go emulate LSU. Georgia would be the closest, but without a doubt. But the most successful, and it's still different because Sarkisian is an offensive mastermind, would be Texas. But again, I feel like that's more round peg, square hole deal, square, whatever, how you say that shit. But man, simple answer would have to be Georgia, even though, you know, Georgia didn't win because that more fits their scheme. That's a good question, man. Georgia, I guess.
Georgia, Lushan?
I'm gonna have to probably go Auburn because they actually were the one team that was successful against us in the run. So if I'm Michigan, which I want to make it clear I'm not, roll Tide. That would be the tape I would use to try and figure out how to run on us. I mean, it's not going to work, but that's what I would use. Again, roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Speaking of roll Tide,
Lucian don't want to give any credit.
Lucian feeling like
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not giving love. Damn it! I don't care what these segments are.
Roll Tide Hayes. Give us your thoughts, sir.
Listen, I think Daniel and Lushan, they both hit it really well. I think that the one thing I'll say is I have no doubt they'll probably tap into some Auburn just because that Michigan Jim Harbaugh rush scheme is kind of a combination one. And even though they favor more of that Georgia style, he still does have that combo run scheme that he'll employ. So Auburn would probably be the one, but once again, I still don't think it's an analogous fit just because Hugh Freeze does wonky stuff, right? Like it's a totally different style offense. So it's an interesting thing to think about.
Love it. Dan?
Definitely the Auburn film. You know, that's you know, the way they attacked us in the running game, you know, keeping us off balance, utilizing the wheel routes, you know, that's similar to what Michigan is gonna try to do.
Awesome. So I think we discussed the Rose Bowl, 3 players we need to kind of look out for and, you know, game plan, trying to get more, wrapping our heads around the khaki pants. Oh.
Hey, real quick,
Justin.
you know, celebrity appearance from the Final Whistle general manager. I want to pose a question to you guys as we talk about 3 players from Michigan to watch out for. And that's concerning one, JJ McCarthy. I know a lot of talk over the past several weeks, especially from our fan base and those who are in the SEC supporting Alabama in our task or crusade, if it were, against Michigan. The fact that JJ has not thrown a lot of passes here. And argument on Michigan's side is, hey, well, we didn't have to. We just played bully ball, and that's all we had to do. We don't have to go outside of that. Well, the thing is, you're not going to be able to play against Alabama. Here's my question. Was him not throwing the ball by design or because he's not all that healthy? I've been hearing some rumors that ever since that Penn State game, he's been a little bit banged up, and he's been protected and have been asked to do much because let's face it, a couple of things about JJ McCarthy. He's got a hose for an arm. He does. Go back and watch film from last year. And he's also he was a Heisman hopeful this year. You're not Heisman hopeful for nothing, and you don't ask a Heisman hopeful to just throw 8 passes and over a span of 4 or 5 games. He's also, I think, top 20 as far as an NFL draft prospect. So something's up here, guys. What do y'all think about it?
I think it's hardwired. You know what I'm saying? You could bring your backup quarterback in there to hand the ball off 50 times a game. So I don't know where that comes from. I just think the schedule that they played allowed them to do that. You know what I'm saying? Guess what though? They're gonna have to throw the ball now. They're not gonna just be able to line it up and run it on Bama. So I'm ready. I'm ready for the game to start, man. I really am. I need some Michigan people on this podcast.
I don't know, man. His yards per attempt haven't really changed. It's actually gone up this year. So, I mean, he may be injured, but I mean, he's thrown about the same amount of passes he did last year. His completions percentage has gone up. So maybe he's not throwing as much down the field. Again, would have had to watch him a little more, but just off the numbers alone. But who knows? I just think that's their brand of football more than anything. But he may be injured. I don't know. That's a good point. That's a good thing to look at, Justin. Who knows, man? If he is, he's playing the wrong team.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I wouldn't mention this if several Big Ten officials and even coaches and assistant coaches,
the rumblings.
Then you have defensive analysts who have been watching him the past several weeks, and they said something's not right. There's a reason behind it, so it's worth talking about.
Comes from Connor Stallions. I don't trust it.
He didn't get the cheat sheet. He didn't get the cheat sheet from the sidelines. So,
Lucian, you take it, then Ty will take it, and then Matt, and then I'll jump off air and let y'all do y'all's
Justin jumped in like Connor. It's like a ninja.
Did you see him?
Here's what I think. It's going to be a little bit out of left field, but I think JJ is a great quarterback for the Michigan football team and the Michigan brand of football. That's not the type of football we're going to be playing in the playoffs. I hate to be the true sayer, reality bringer, but that's not going to happen. I don't think that he's hurt. I think that's their system of ball, like Pettey alluded to. I don't think that they like to throw the ball. I think that they like to be very, very cautious in their game scheme. I don't think they like to take a lot of chances. We're going to pound the rock all night. And if we have a chance to get a pass off, we got a couple athletes that can do a couple things against the people that we actually play at Michigan football. And again, we're not going to be playing Michigan football on January 1st. We're going to be playing Alabama football. That's different. You ain't played that yet. You ain't felt that heat, but you're going to. And I can't wait for it.
Ty, you pick it up. You look at things through an objective lens because you have to cover numerous teams on your channel. So is this something that could be a serious thing where he could be hurt? Or do they think they can bully ball Alabama? Or are they purposely lulling us into an expectation that is false and they're going to present to us an entire different philosophy come the Rose Bowl?
I don't believe so, and it's not because of an injury, because I believe you can still run a form of the Michigan offense, even if JJ McCarthy was a little bit banged up, because I believe they have that much faith in their running game, and until someone's but I also just think that whenever we look at this, I am of the belief that if you want to be successful in college football, you have got to practice successful. You have got to play successful. And what I mean when I say that, I don't think it's a recipe conducive to success if Michigan has been playing a certain way all season, and then come the playoffs, they take a mask off and say, oh, well, now this is who we really are. Because you haven't gotten to really practice who you really are. You haven't gotten to show who you really are. Showing who you really are in practice is one thing. Everybody in America does that every single week. Showing who you are in a live action game, that's what takes weeks on end to build. And so I'm not really of the belief that, even though I do believe Michigan is going to pass the ball much more to beat Alabama because they will have to, I don't think it's something where they've been hiding a card in their jacket to pull out, because I just don't think that's a strategy conducive to long-term success.
Okay, Matt, close it up, and then I'll jump off.
Yeah, I mean, JJ McCarthy, I mean, I have seen some film where he's easily manipulated into certain coverages. Like, I think we can utilize that for our advantage, show something else, disguise different things, kind of confuse him. I don't think he was challenged in that regard in the Big Ten. Now, he's a serviceable quarterback, but I think it might be some truth to that, him being hurt. So that's why, I'm not saying I'm conspiracy theorists. I wouldn't be surprised if they just try to do some, just little things where there's no huddle, up tempo, just trying to get, certain play, catch Bama off guard than what they usually do. Just to trying to add another wrinkle in Pasadena. But I don't, I think like I said, we got to get to McCarthy and get him on the ground and make him uncomfortable, like Dan said. So
awesome.
And if he is injured and all they can do is run the ball, okay, or try to run the ball. I don't want to say run the ball. It's going to be a long day, man.
I don't think he's going to take a few licks from Chris Braswell and Dallas Turner. He's going to be like, yeah.
Man, you imagine when
Otis
hits him? If Otis hits him, he might not come back.
One fall.
It's going to be like a scene from What's Love Got to Do with It. I'm sorry, Ike.
Yeah.
One fall.
But listen, how many quarterbacks had taken multiple licks from Chris Braswell and Dallas Turner? That's not going to happen. He'll be out of the game before taking multiple hits.
Yeah, I definitely see that. I think
and
a couple guys are going to be making a few business decisions. That's why I think it's important Alabama imposes their will early and often against Michigan and make Blake Corum and guys like JJ McCarthy be like, listen, I don't want to go back out there. Like, give it to the backup. We're not in this game. So, that's just my prediction or whatnot. So let's get it up to Mr. Week 0 Sports as we move to our next topic, which is Pettey's game day picks. Who all these people who like to go to Vegas and bet on a few games, parlays, do all that stuff. This is your guy, this guy he's like Moneyball. He knows how to do it. So let's go right to it. Connor Stallions. Oh my gosh, guys.
Connor Stallions is in our chat. We big time.
That's awesome. Hi, Connor.
Man, I feel like I should go into like a Vinny Vegas voice, All right, guys. So we're gonna ignore last week. We went 2-3-2. It looked like a bad baseball stat line. What am I gonna say? We had 2 bad beats. We had Old Dominion up 28-0, and they blew the damn game. We had Appy State playing in a monsoon with 13 turnovers. They ain't seen 13 turnovers in a bowl game since the '64 Sugar Bowl with your Alabama Crimson Tide and Ole Miss. You gotta wipe that shit and move on. So here's what we're going to do. I got some intel. I got a 5-star play for you coming up. Nice. Seriously, I'm done. I feel like I should go into that voice.
I love that character. Great job.
We're going to get your bankroll going right into bowl season. So, no, I got some plays. I'm actually on Marshall tonight, plus 9.5. That seems dumb as hell, so I'm going to go with it after this week. Like I said, 2-3-2 last week wasn't very pretty. Had some bad beats with Old Dominion. But I've got a few I like this week. One of them, and usually if I say it's my favorite, God, throw caution to the wind. Those are the ones that bite me. But Troy and Duke in the Who is My Coach Birmingham Bowl. Troy Summerall's off to Tulane. You got Duke. Elko's off to A&M, and they've now hired Manny Diaz, who's kind of been around the block but hasn't done great as a head coach. A lot of the money right now publicly is on Duke. I think that's name recognition. The interim coach right now for Troy is the defensive coordinator. They don't have any deflections going into the portal. This is a team that wants to be there, that wants to win. You're looking at Duke, Leonard, their quarterback, who kind of, when they were the media darling earlier in the year, he was kind of running the show. I'm not sure how quick Diaz can get it together with so many guys in the portal. And it's going to be a common theme this bowl season. And it'll bite you at times. You never know what the backups, how motivated they're going to be, like they were in the Miami of Ohio game when the third string quarterback played out of his mind. So again, this isn't set in stone, but I really like Troy in this situation with Duke's quarterback out. I just feel like in a lot of these small bowl games, you got to look at who's motivated. And I really believe that Troy's going to be the motivated team here. Duke's not going to want to be down in Birmingham. Troy Trojans -8.5, one I really love. Another one, Georgia Tech coming down right here down the road on Friday to the Gasparilla Bowl, 4.5-point underdogs to one of y'all's favorites around here, the Gus Bus and the UCF Knights. UCF, John Rice Plumlee, they've had a good year. Gus has kind of got it rolling. But on the flip side, man, Georgia Tech under Brent Key out of that Alabama coaching staff has done a really nice job with Georgia Tech. And Haynes King, the quarterback transfer from Texas A&M. I really like Georgia Tech weirdly in this spot plus 4.5. Again, caution to the wind on that. They get blown out. Two more for you, and I'm going to get on. I can ramble on these all day. San Jose -10 against Coastal. Coastal still a good team this year, but it was really rolling under Chadwell. They hadn't had the same bite. Again, common theme. Grayson McCall, their stud quarterback for the last couple of years, has hit the portal. San Jose is another one of those teams, kind of quietly, kind of decent team for their league. I like San Jose -10. And the last one, J-Mad, my boys, they put them in a bowl game. They've earned it. They want to be there. If anybody wants to be in a bowl, it's some boys from J-Mad. They are all in. I know they're going against the Air Force, who was the best of the service academies this year. So this may be kind of crazy, but give me J-Mad -2.5. And get your bankroll going for the bowl season so you can buy your wife a nice ring and a steak dinner when you come to Vegas.
I love it. Do you do NFL picks?
I do, but the NWWFL is insane. You can't. It's so rigged. It's such a damn rigged sport. And let me talk. Let's take the Raiders. They score 0 points against the Minnesota Vikings. The next week they score 63. You've got Miami, who averages 35 points a game and the best offense under McDaniel and Tua and those boys rolling. And then last week they don't score an offensive point until the third quarter. The NFL is so. You really got to look at storylines. That's why I call it the NWWFL. Perfect example. Man, they really want Buffalo in the playoffs. NFL loves money. They were going to win that game against this weekend against the Chiefs. I hate to say it, because they got to keep winning to get in the playoffs. I picked Buffalo solely because I think the NFL wants them to win. I know that's a crazy way to look at it, but that's how I look at the NFL. I look at it based off what storyline fits the NFL, Vince McMahon's narrative the best.
What about Miami, Dallas? Who do you got favorite? I think Miami's 1.5.
I was all against Dallas this week too. I knew that was a bad spot for those knuckleheads. They do not. No, it wasn't. It was Buffalo, Dallas. Yeah, my bad.
I'm saying they played this.
But
week.
You're talking about this week.
Yeah.
It's in Miami, right?
I think it's in.
Or is it in Dallas?
I don't know.
This is a bounce back for Dallas. Then I'd take Dallas.
Okay, cool.
And I think Miami. I like Miami better. And this is the time of year where Dak Prescott likes to crap in his pants and not get it done. So, this is the time of the year for Dallas to start falling off the cliff because games matter. But I would take Dallas in that.
Cool.
What do you like? Is NFL the way you'd like to go here?
No, I'm when I think NFL, I just do fantasy, and I'm on a 2-game losing streak the past couple weeks. So that Tyreek Hill not playing screwed me last week. So
I'm in a crazy pick'em league where you got to pick 15 games a week, and 5 of them are NFL, 10 of them are college, all against the spread. And man, believe it or not, I don't like NFL, but it kind of pulled me out of the fire last week. Just again, picking what I thought scenarios best were. I didn't look at anything else.
Well,
pick scenarios.
Yeah, pick scenarios. You got that from Pettey's picks, everybody. And speaking of picks, nobody knows how to pick 5-star talent like Coach Sayin. And listen, guys, we got some early enrollees that are already in Tuscaloosa. Old St. Nick already brought Christmas gifts to Tuscaloosa for us Bama fans. So, guys, let's talk about the Bama early enrollees for bowl prep. And I'm going to start with Mr. Blaze Hayes. Then I'm going to go Dan, our lead recruiting analyst. Then we're going to go Pettey, Lushawn, and I'll round this out. So, guys, what are your thoughts? Things you love, excited about. What are you hearing about the Bama enrollees for bowl prep? Ty Hayes.
Yeah, y'all know I'm going to go with Julian Sayin. Whenever we were talking about recruiting early on in the year, I gave y'all 2 prospects for me that Alabama had to land. Julian Sayin was one of them. He is there prepping for the bowl, and already you're hearing he looks like a dude. And I don't think anybody that's really been privy to his process is surprised. He is going to be what I assume is the next in line in what has been a phenomenal run of quarterback play for the Alabama Crimson Tide. I think having him there is huge because I truly believe he's a guy that, though young, is going to push everybody in that room, and competition is good. Iron sharpens iron, right? It's the process. So I am so excited about Julian Sayin in the future. And I mean, you talk about some of the wide receivers that may not be early enrollees. Who wouldn't want to play wide receiver for Julian Sayin?
Yeah, I agree. Dan?
Yeah, definitely got to go with Julian Sayin, but another one, I'm excited about is tight end Caleb Odom. I think he's going to be huge for us. But one that's going under the radar, and I think he's going to benefit from enrolling early. That's the defensive tackle Isaiah Fogger. He's supposed to arrive today, and so I think him, getting in, getting reps, getting acclimated, that's going to be very beneficial to a guy like him.
Nice. Pettey?
Look, man, just got to echo what the two smarter men before me said. Look, Julian Sayin, give me that California quarterback. They grow them out there. They throw in that wind. I don't know, something. Maybe they throw in harder wind out in California so their arms are better. I don't know. But California quarterbacks seem to be a gold mine the last few years. So I love what Bama's getting and saying. And like Dan said, man, Caleb Odom was the one I circled. Give me a 6'5", 230-pound, slot threat that's got the ability to kind of play that tight end role, but the athleticism of a receiver. Really excited about what he can bring to this offense.
Lucian?
I got 2, one on offense, one on defense. Offensive side, Casey Pope.
Oh, yeah.
That dude is a mauler. Like, if y'all want to watch something impressive and just mean and just bully, go check out his film. I mean, he's going to be on the field very quickly, I think, at Alabama, and I can't wait to see him. And on the defensive side, Xavier Brown, I've been intrigued by this kid ever since he committed. He comes from a program with great prestige and work ethic. So I'm kind of very excited to see what he comes in and the attitude he brings. And as I was reading, he's actually older and when he enrolls. So it's going to be interesting to see how he takes in the playbook, the scheme, and what he can transform his body in the weight room. That's actually something I'm not concerned with, but excited to see all these early enrollees, what they look like in the spring and later summer, because the earlier you get to Bama, the earlier you get your body in shape, the better shape you're going to be, the more successful you're going to end up being.
I love it. I love it. And for me, guys, I'm going to go on the defensive end. We're going to probably lose a lot in the defensive secondary, so I'm glad to see the guys coming out of California, Woodward, Brown, those 2 guys. Kirkpatrick Jr., I don't know if this is going unnoticed.
Okay.
His stat line from the Mississippi-Alabama All-Star game is probably one of the craziest stat lines I've ever seen. He had a pick, a fumble, a block punt. I'm like, he is a ball magnet just like his dad. So what are you going to say, Dan?
Man, you think that's something, man, just watch the guy highlight tape. That's the most impressive of all the defensive backs. His highlight tape is the most impressive by far. Of all our defensive commitment, his by far is the most impressive.
And he wasn't close to the most electric player on that field that day.
Right.
Ryan Williams, fellas.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to derail, but I was watching.
And you went to my next point, and part of my Christmas list, I hope Ryan Williams signs tomorrow and just decides to come to Tuscaloosa after the bar. But that would be part of my Christmas list. That would make the early enrollees make me feel comfortable and confident. But yeah, so I'm excited about the early enrollees. I'm excited to see, speaking about that Julian Sayin prep, say we beat Michigan and we get ready for, I think Texas probably win that game. I think having Julian Sayin probably will be a good QB to kind of mimic, what Quinn Ewers likes to do. So, I think that'll be good. So let's move to our next topic. But before we do, I want to give a special shout out to one of my old teammates, Alabama defensive lineman, Rudy Griffin, hired as the defensive line coach for the University of West Georgia. And no, we're not talking about Auburn. The University of West Georgia. We want to give a shout out.
The real University of West Georgia.
The real University of West Georgia.
So, guys, let's get to our next topic. We talked about early enrollees. I'm just going to let you guys have the floor about signing day. We've got some portal news, some recruiting news. It's Merry Flipmas, as they like to say. So I'm going to leave it up to Dan and Ty and Pettey and Lushawn. I'm just going to let y'all cook on this segment, and I'm just going to soak it up like a sponge. So what should we be excited regarding to signing day? Things is going to go playing. Any surprises, any, type of flip. I told you I want Ryan Williams to sign tomorrow. Ryan Williams, if you turn and find a whistle, go ahead and sign that, send that fax in to Tuscaloosa tomorrow. Just go ahead and do it. But yeah, Dan, go ahead and do it.
Yeah, as far as Ryan Williams, he's been saying the right things, so I feel pretty confident that I don't know if he's gonna sign. I'd say right now I don't expect him to sign tomorrow. He's saying, the word is he's gonna sign, late signing day. So we'll see, what I'm saying, because he still wants to take visits. Now this is a kid that's enjoying the recruiting process. What I'm saying, you can't hold it against him. And the fact that he reclassified a year, so he we just need to give him time to enjoy it. So he's enjoying the process. So we'll give him that respect, let him do that. I just hope he makes the right decision when it comes time to sign.
Yeah.
But any surprises I would expect, y'all? I would expect all the surprises to be in favor of Bama, if there are any surprises. I expect us to hold on to what we have, but hey, it could be, we could be in for an interesting day tomorrow. I'll leave it at that.
Before you hand it off, what are some of the things you're hearing about Houston, the guy out of Beaufort? Will we be able to keep that Beaufort to Bama pipeline, or what are you kind of hearing?
Well, there's growing optimism back on Ohio State. Clemson was never really in it. It's a Bama versus Ohio State battle. So, right now there's a lot of confidence that Ohio State is regain momentum. But we'll see. His family prefers him to be closer to home. But this is been made clear that it's his decision. So we'll find out tomorrow. So I would expect him to. I don't know. I'm not ready to give a prediction yet. I feel better in the morning. I sleep on it.
Ty Hayes. I mean, you Mr. All around the sports, reach around the table sports. You do it all. Just give me your. I know. Give me your thoughts.
Nothing's off the table.
No. Give me your thoughts of just kind of what are you hearing, whether it's portal, recruiting, just kind of, what kind of day you think is going to be tomorrow?
Well, yeah, look, I think Alabama pursuing some running backs. Kevin Riley, currently committed to Miami. That's a name I'd watch from Alabama, plays in Tuscaloosa County. If they can keep him home, that'd be huge. Alabama, very talented at the running back room, but one thing we know, they like to take a running back or two per class. So that's one name I'd look at. Let's talk about Houston for a second. Guys, Ohio State is right now. A few days ago, they had a prospect that they're leading for. I mean, absolutely surging for up until the moment that they weren't. That was Carlin James right here from Texas, top 300 prospect in the nation. He committed to USC over Ohio State, and Ohio State was surging in this battle, and then out of nowhere, a few days later, boom, USC. The reason I bring this up is because I just think that there's some uncertainty at Ohio State right now. And in no way, shape, or form am I saying any coach is retiring anything. I just think Ohio State, they're still a great team against, but I bring this up to say if there was ever a time for Alabama to strike, it is right now while the iron is hot, and they can get in Houston's ear. The close proximity to home. Yes, Larry Johnson is a phenomenal defensive line recruiter and a heck of a coach. You're not going to find an argument from me. But so too is Freddie Roach. And so this is something we've got to keep up with. Outside of that, Bama's still battling it out for Aaron Hampton, who's committed to Texas. That's something to watch out for.
A sleeper I heard today. Don't be surprised about him. I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry.
No, that was the end of it.
I'm gonna go back to you, Ty. You were kind of breaking up when you were talking about Houston. I think you said it's a little uncertainty regarding Buford. If you would just kind of cover that again, just with the fans, because you do such a great job anyways.
Oh no, what I was saying is right now I think there's some uncertainty at Ohio State in terms of some of their future. And if you're Alabama, as great as a recruiter as Larry Johnson is, time to strike is right now. What better time when the iron's hot? You can get in with Edric Houston. You've had success at Buford. I think Alabama's in a really good position to flip him.
Nice. I love it. And Aaron Hampton, what are you hearing? Because he's a Texas signee commit, correct?
Yeah, they're recruiting him as a defensive back. As I understand it, Alabama's a bit more fluid in their situation with how they're recruiting him. The thing to watch with Texas, they just flipped Xavier Filsaime from Florida. He's the number 30 player in the nation for the 24/7 Sports Composite. And then they get a massive commitment in the transfer portal. Andrew Makuba transfers from Clemson to Texas, former top 100, top 150 player in the nation in his respective class. Really productive player for the Tigers. So that defensive backfield, though it still has some areas where they need to improve, I think it's getting pretty full there.
Oh, nice. Cool. Pettey?
Hey, man. And y'all know I've got tentacles into the Ole Miss side of things too, and they got some sources on their rival side that are as good as they come, and what I follow and what I'm hearing tonight, and they're not involved. This isn't an Ole Miss involvement. It just was mentioned casually in one of their threads that Evan Stewart, the transfer portal wide receiver from Texas A&M, is a done deal to Alabama, is what they're hearing. So I know there might be, I think Dan may have a difference of opinion on that, but coming from a side that has no dog in the hunt, that what they're hearing is Alabama is a done deal. And man, Evan Stewart, you got Burton going out. He's a better version of Burton, if you ask me. He's a better playmaker after the ball. He's a little more physical, and Burton was like a gremlin going after the ball. But I think he's a great, he's going out. You got him coming right in. I think Stewart's going to be a great replacement if it is in fact a done deal. So Evan Stewart from A&M be my look for it.
Do you think seeing his teammate LT Overton commit to Alabama, you think that had a lot to do with it?
It helps.
Pettey, go.
Absolutely, it helps. You got some familiarity going with you, and I don't, no telling what kind of bond they had on that team. But there's got to be some help with it. But I don't know, man. These A&M guys seem kind of like mercenaries right now.
Dan, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I that definitely doesn't hurt, but there is already familiarity, because it came down to Texas A&M, Texas, and Bama when it came to Evan Stewart. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't say it's a done deal, but it's pretty close. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to set us all up to be disappointed, but I'm cautiously optimistic. So Saban likes to talk to guys, and being that he entered the transfer portal during the dead period.
Well, dead period for like you can't have in-person
Yeah.
contact, but they don't consider TV in-person contact.
Right. So, you know what I'm saying? Coach Saban, you know, he likes to get guys in front of him, talk to them, get them on campus, let them visit, you know. So that's the thing, you know, I would say, you know, had he entered it early and came on the visit, you know, that's a done deal. Definitely a done deal. But, you know, we'll see. You know, Coach Saban, it goes through Coach Saban. It's a Coach Saban show.
Yeah, it is.
No doubt.
I saw a tweet today saying Coach Saban going Thanos on everybody to recruit. Speaking of Thanos, what about Mincy? I know he's a big-time safety out of Florida. What are you hearing about him? Is he going somewhere else, or you don't think we add him to our class?
Oh, I would not be surprised, you know, if he were to pick Bama. It's just, you know, we've always been playing catch up with him. You know, it's always, you know, the in-state schools, you know, always, particularly Florida, always seem to have the upper hand. But with Corby Raymond being let go at Florida, you know, that really put Bama back in this thing for real.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think, you know, Bama, Miami, Florida State, those are the three I'm looking at. You know, it just depends on what's happening behind the scenes. You know, I definitely would not be surprised if the pick was Bama tomorrow. You know, but you got to think, you know, Bama already has, 6 defensive back commitments, you know. Then Aaron Hampton, he's being recruited as an athlete. You know, I feel more confident, you know, with Aaron Hampton right now at the time.
Got it. Lushan.
Listen, I'm just gonna put a whole generalization on this whole thing. What's gonna happen tomorrow? Saban gonna Saban tomorrow.
Yeah,
and that's flat out what's gonna happen. Saban gonna get whoever he wants, however he wants, whenever he wants, and the tie will roll once again.
I love it. I love it. Speaking of that, do you think we finish number one? Especially when we get like an Edric Houston and maybe a Mincy and the running backs. You think we finish with the number one class?
You know, there's this thing, you know, this thing I use on 247, the class calculator. I was looking at it, you know, with the right amount, you know, we could, you know, especially if you figure in you know, transfer portal guys, I think we could. You know, I was doing the math, I was like, man, we can't catch Georgia. You know, everybody was giving us like a few points. You know, the one that I for sure knew, and that was including Edric Houston, you know, so I think Bama can finish with the number one class tomorrow. I would not be surprised at all, you know, but I use the class calculator thing, and it just, you know, according to 247, whose rankings suck anyway.
Yeah, they're all. Well, had they factored in the quarterback flipping to Nebraska?
Yeah,
already?
that was after after Raiola flip. So we'll see. I think they were still at 310. I think so.
Yeah, they're at 310. We're looking at 290. Yeah, they're still, you know,
Something
add Stewart to that as well. You're gonna get a bump.
Yeah, Stewart and Overton to that. Yeah, you definitely get a bump.
The thing about it is, though, Saban's not worried about that rating.
He's not worried about that. He's worried about the guys he's getting. Yeah,
and I think he has probably the best group of energy, hard-nosed playing football players in the country right now.
Right, and taking the effect, you know, some guys are definitely after this postseason bowls and everything, and the All-Star games, the All-Star circuit. Hey, some guys are gonna get significant bumps. There's a lot of guys that's ranked really low that should be, you know, Isaiah Faga, you know, Kirkpatrick Jr. You know, you look at his performance in the Alabama Mississippi All-Star, he's due for a bump. You know, he's so.
And let's be real, I think you know, going way back to when Saban got to Alabama, Saban kind of created what the recruiting rankings are. They kind of follow off him. I don't know if people go all the way back to when he first got here and you're bringing in Julio and all those guys, but Rivals would start re-ranking, which was the big one then, Rivals, and then what's gone to 0-3. Guys would move when they got offers from Saban. It was like, well, if Saban offered them, they're a 4-star. Man, Saban created the ranking.
Right.
So speaking of Saban, Alabama, SEC football, Pettey, we were discussing before the show, and you had this crazy take. You mentioned you've hung out at the few bars with Pete Golden in Oxford, and hang out with Lane Kiffin at a few bars.
Me and Joey Freshwater and Third and Golden, Widespread Pete, Third and Golden, whatever you want to call him.
Give us this crazy take you're referring to. Please talk about it. Let the Fighter Wilson listeners hear about it.
Well, look, man. Again, it's becoming no secret that I'm a split personality. I'm a Harvey Two-Face here. I'm half Bama, half Ole Miss, but I've also always been a realist. Like, I get their placements in the world, and up until the transfer portal and NIL, Ole Miss had a glass ceiling, and it wasn't even close to what Bama's was, or even their floor under Saban. Ole Miss lost 2 games this year, on the road to Alabama and on the road to Georgia. And the one thing you got to love about Kiffin is he's a realist. He's not one of those coaches that after those games said, well, if we played them again and we did this or we worked harder. No, man, you could play Alabama 10 times in a row and you're going to lose that game 10 times because by the third and fourth quarter, Bama's offensive line was leaning Ole Miss and they didn't have the physicality. You get over to Georgia and Ole Miss didn't get Georgia to a third down to the third quarter. Kiffin walked off that field and said, I can't coach to beat these guys. You got to have the guys. And if you've been paying attention, I don't want Bama is doing what Bama does, bringing in a core class of young guys and adding a few portal guys that are going to pop and going to be right there. But, man, Kiffin has gone ham in the damn portal right now. Ole Miss has the number 1 defensive line class in the SEC. Never done that. That's what you got to have. It's becoming quite apparent that Walter Nolan is going to end up at Ole Miss. They've signed the defensive end out of Florida. They've added 6 4-star defensive players that were starting in the SEC last year. Their portal classes from the year before have been bringing guys from Georgia Tech, Indiana. Now they're bringing guys in the SEC. Ole Miss doesn't. You look at the schedule next year, and it's weird. Bama drops off. You don't have to play Auburn in the Indian Burial Ground. That they don't get Texas. They get Oklahoma coming to Oxford. The reason you're seeing Ole Miss go all in on the portal right now is because they see this in the first time in my lifetime. There's an opportunity with this playoff, not just to get in the playoff, actually be competitive in the damn thing. And the way the schedule shapes up, barring craziness, and I look, these players might not work out, but if these players gel, Ole Miss and Alabama will play next year. It'll be in Atlanta for the SEC championship.
I would give you 2 words that I would counter you and say,
and Bama will win. And Bama and look, the GOAT will go.
I'm going to give you 2 words. All that sounds good. Pete Golden.
Pete.
Look, I get
Third and drunken Golding.
I get
Pete
it.
Golden. I'm telling you. Listen. And another thing about portal guys.
Truth. I get it.
They I don't know if they're going to have the same buy-in. This sounds good on paper, but you got to do a lot to.
Well, but Ole Miss is the case study for that. Look at them.
Yeah.
They've won 10 games 2 out of the last 3 years. In the middle, they won 8. Last year, their portal guys didn't work out, and they even asked their defensive end, when did you realize it went bad? He said halftime at LSU. Ole Miss had only lost 1 game at that point, and the team quit at halftime of a game. They were damn winning. They didn't have the mentality, but the year before, it really is. And Kiffin realized last year when you're recruiting portal, and I think Dan's alluded to this, and this is where Saban's the king, it is all about personality because you are bringing in a mercenary for 1 year. Is that mercenary going to be able to not be a cancer to that locker room? And no, that's a great point, Matt, because this year it worked out for Ole Miss. They won 10 games with the guys. They weren't good enough to beat Bama or Georgia, but they were good enough to end up in the dang Peach Bowl, which is, if you're an Ole Miss fan, that's a dang good deal. But no, and I think that's the case. It could all go wrong. Walter Nolan walks in there, the highest paid player in the locker room, and he's the big swinging, and everybody starts getting jealous. Your locker room breaks down after 1 loss, and then you lose it. So that will be the interesting take. But say, I'm drinking Kool-Aid. I'm loving the Portal King right now. I want to see Bama in Atlanta and see if, one more year again, Kiffin loses his damn mind because the Jedi powers that Saban has over him.
Well, you think about it. The portal will work for 1 year. It worked out for Florida State. Unfortunately, they were left out. I just want to put that out there.
But when you're not Alabama or Georgia, when you're not the teams that
Right.
can do what build it the way they do,
You
got to
it
do
for
an
1 year.
This is your for teams like Ole Miss. This is their opportunity, and the only way they can do it. Let's be real. If they don't do it now, we're like, well, you're building it for 1 year. You're not going to sustain. Well, what was Ole Miss 3 years ago? The laughingstock of college football, while a guy was lifting his leg in the end zone.
Right.
When your teams like Ole Miss, when you see your opportunity, and I see what they're doing, they're going all in. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. What did you lose? You weren't. You are what you are.
Right. The
So,
transfer portal now is the new JUCO. You know.
oh, it is.
So that's what it is. And
Well,
it works.
and it just with it not having any regulations, man. Imagine the Dallas Cowboys getting the first pick every year and getting to pick all they wanted out of the portal. That's why, and it just they got to get some kind of regulations on that. But
Hey, Jackie Sherrill did it for years. You know, he had success with it. You know, so
Jackie
being able to
Sherrill,
maintain it year in and year out.
it was on Justin's other show that I can't remember. It was it Marvin talking about they play Mississippi State and all them dudes were like 33 years old.
Right.
Yeah. Were you well, you too, Matt? That was probably back in you didn't know you weren't. Yeah, you were way after Cheryl, weren't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was watching Fred Smoot and them and Jackie Sherrill back in the day. Them doing the kickoff. I just think that was something.
Hey, and they still do that. They're real creative over there in Afghanistan.
Start making. So, guys, speaking of the portal, fans, picks, it's about that time for us to get to our segments, our favorite segments of the week. And I can only start with the man, the myth, the legend, Ty Hayes, who's always got a great one for us whenever he talks about his OnlyFans. Ty?
Well, listen, we're just about at Christmas, so I figured I'd go a little bit tame and keep everybody in the holiday spirits. That way we don't go into Christmas on a sour mood, right? You can get a little rush over here. I will be pretty much all tomorrow for early signing day. Love to see you over there.
So Ty just typed in Tiffany Amber Thiessen's boobs and it just kind of clicked up the screen. One not at a time. I finally saw him. Well, it's not really her.
I love it. I'm going to go ahead with mine. So speaking, I think Ty was talking about, the Christmas holiday season. We got Christmas next Monday, sorry. And, I'm going to go with mine this week is Jingle Balls. And my promo code is just like Santa. I'll be coming soon. Boom. Blue shot.
Oh man, well you can find me at Rolush on Twitter, Rolush21, Lucian Graves on Facebook and Instagram. This weekend exclusively, I'm actually going to be taking a plane to the North Pole for my OnlyFans segment this weekend. It's going to be on Santa's balls, slaying all night. Promo code, have fun.
I love it. Pettey, and then we got to go to church with Dan.
All right, man. I'm
minister.
Pettey back again with Week Zero Sports. Check us out, weekzerosports.com. We dropped a show last week where I quizzed my co-hosts on where the bowl games are, and it's hilarious. We don't know half of where they are, and I had the cheat sheet and didn't know. Check us out. This show is going to be dropping sometime this week. We kind of touched down on maybe his Georgia and Ohio State Pete as programs, given they couldn't Georgia couldn't take down Bama this year, and all the toxicity at Ohio State. So check out our show, weekzerosports.com. Also, Workspace Solutions. We're like I said, the sponsor of this show. We're your online presence. We help your business grow. We can help you with web design, SEO, copyright, anything you need, we can help you with. So I did that first because last time I did it after my OnlyFans and I couldn't keep a straight face. But man, hey, this game's getting closer and closer. The more excited I get, it's like when you get excited, the girl gets closer and closer. So man, I'm as hard as Harbaugh's khakis right now. And you can check my promo code at Extra Starch.
Extra size.
Oh shit.
Look at Van Edwards. That only comes once a year. I like my promo code. Deck them halls, smash them walls.
That's why I don't have any kids. He only comes once a year.
Okay,
That's
now
a
we've
hell of
done
a
all the
nut.
sending. Let's go get holy and cleanse and go to our ordained minister,
The deacon.
Dan, the deacon, freak deacon, Dan James.
Yeah. First of all, I want to invite everyone to hit that like and subscribe button. You know, this is the only channel right now with full of saints and sinners, you know. But you know, you can catch me on Twitter at Final Whistle Dan, weekly, every Tuesday night, right here on this very channel. And we want to invite y'all tomorrow to check out my girl CG Payne on the Crimson Dynasty. Real good show, you know. Check it out tomorrow night. You know, and plus our other show, you know, the Bama Standard, the Teague's Take. You know, we have awesome content on this channel, y'all. You know, hit that like and subscribe button. You know, hit the notifications. You know, so you be able to get notification when we're streaming something. But other than that, y'all, I'm out.
I heard that. And ladies and gentlemen, this has been another great episode of the Final Whistle. And Merry Christmas to everybody. Enjoy your holiday season. Enjoy the family. National Santa Day is tomorrow, so hopefully Santa gives us some early Christmas gifts tomorrow. Happy Nick Saban Day, as I like to call it. And let's end on those two precious words. Roll Tide, everybody.
Roll Tide, y'all.
Roll
Expect some
Tide.
surprises tomorrow, y'all.
Roll Tide.
Got